The Detroit Pistons don't have Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, or LeBron James. They also don't have any of the other top-tier players that come to mind, while other teams have multiple. Unfortunately, that means that the Pistons probably won't be winning an NBA title anytime soon, which is tough for a fan base to swallow, particularly when considering the lack of potential to add superstar talent in the draft, because the Pistons are too good to be a bottom-tier team, or free agency, because Detroit has never been an appealing destination. So should the team try to sell their best assets for draft picks and play the odds to try to land a top talent in the draft? This argument seems even more satisfying when considering a top draft pick would be reaching his prime at or near the end of top-tier talent players like LeBron James. Perhaps, however, we have the narrative wrong. Perhaps things don't play out exactly how it has historically. Let me explain. NBA players in the past seemingly only joined big-market teams, and yet, there were still teams like the San Antonio Spurs that always seemed to be good despite the ever-changing NBA landscape. Sure, the Spurs were way ahead of its time and capitalized on European talent that others seemed to completely whiff on. And sure, the Spurs are a world-class organization with a world-class coach and ownership, who also used the lottery's top pick to land a cornerstone player. Still, they've also been able to find gems later in the draft, such as Kawhi Leonard, who was drafted outside of the lottery. Then there were teams like the 2004 Pistons who threw together a bunch of misfits and took down the super team Los Angeles Lakers, who sported future and current Hall of Famers like Gary Payton, Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, and Karl Malone. The point is, one narrative that is always proven true is what's on paper matters little to the actual product on the court. Then there's the historical trend of players only wanting to play in big markets. Does that still have merit? I think it does, but I also think today's players are much different than yesterday's. Players, time and time again, have shown a desire to put winning above themselves in the last decade. I think this is a trend that will hold true moving forward. If that's the case, that bodes well for a team like the Pistons, who just need to demonstrate that it is a team that is a piece or two away from being a contender. That's why the Pistons shouldn't blow this thing up. The Pistons have a players coach who is well respected and admired across the league. They have players who can be dominant in Reggie Jackson and Andre Drummond. They have players that can be go-to scorers, high-end rotation players, or borderline all-stars like Tobias Harris and Avery Bradley. The Pistons also have factors like Stanley Johnson, who could blossom into a dangerous player for oppositions. There's a lot of ifs and maybes with the Pistons, but there's also a chance to demonstrate just how good this team could be with a true difference maker. It is for that reason the Pistons should keep this team together and hope that a situation presents itself where the team can capitalize and add a gamma-changing talent.